Kids to bed, dad's home. We are the DWO podcast representing the Dad World Order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me as always, my fellow dads. First up, we got Big Rig, Eric Maffei.
What up, though?
And last but not least, the world record holding t-shirt wearing wrestling t-shirt guy, Bo Cephas.
All right, what up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Hey, buddy.
Another beautiful day here on the podcast.
Indeed.
We got an awesome show lined up. Eric, tell them about it.
We do. As Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and today we have with us, you may think that we have Robert Downey Jr., but I have to inform you that it is not him, just his look-alike, Corporal Parker Brown of the Army National Guard. Sir.
Good evening.
How the heck are you?
That was awesome.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to take this off.
That's fine.
That might be
so worth it.
The best entrance of a guest yet.
He's definitely
I'm
a
glad
nominee.
I'm glad you did that.
I'm glad to have done it. This is so much fun. Thank you guys for having me on. I am doing quite well.
Well, good, man. Glad to hear it. Cephas, you wanna start us off here, big dog?
Well, first things first. I think we got to ask the secondary question first, and that's a Mike question. Mike, go ahead and hit him with that secondary.
Sir, what do you keep your thermostat set at?
68 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes!
Hot dog. There you go. Get in.
Right on the button.
Yes, sir.
68 degrees Fahrenheit all day, every day, year round.
We've had some
Also, I'm just now remembering this. We're releasing this on 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, it's technically the 3rd of July. So if you see this video, you're seeing the 3rd of July's T-shirt, which is a Macho Man.
Oh, look, I kind of got him. I got the Nacho Man.
Oh, yeah. That's really good.
The cheese and the chip, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The cheese rises to the top, yeah. A little jalapeno on it, yeah.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Burns. Yeah.
Yeah. For those listening on audio platforms, I have a T-shirt with Homer Simpson dressed as Macho Man, but it says Nacho Man because he has the nacho hat on. And if you don't get that reference, then go watch The Simpsons because it's amazing.
Dude, I caught my son and his friend.
Man.
Why are you my son?
Go ahead.
Sorry. It's a Simpsons reference. Sorry, I caught my son and his friend watching the Simpsons movie the other day. Like, God, that's old, and you guys went back and reached for that. He's like, yeah, I think I need to go back and watch all the Simpsons again. I was like, all of it?
Oh, dude, they hold up. They really do. You can go back to freaking season 2, and that shit holds up.
I love these season 2. The first season sucks so fucking bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible, but I still watch it every time I decide to go back through them.
I feel like the outlier now because I don't watch The Simpsons.
What's your cartoon of choice, man?
I mean, other than like the cliche Rick and Morty.
Everybody loves Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm that kind of nerd that I don't really watch a whole lot of syndicated shows. I mostly watch documentaries and stuff. I know.
You definitely are that kind of nerd.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Dusty Rhodes documentary on A&E?
Have not.
Really, you should watch it because in the first 5 minutes they feature this really super handsome guy, and he actually he's got a social media you can follow and everything. But he's a real fucking handsome dude, and
Oh, that documentary. I know what you're talking about.
he's just a really cool dude. I think it's neat that they put him in there because he's basically an authority on pro wrestling.
And Cephas is on there too.
Computer, remind me to watch the Dusty Rhodes documentary.
Hey, it's available on the A&E app, and you don't even you can just get on there for free. You can get a 7-day free trial. Thanks, A&E. This isn't paid, but it could be.
You don't take their money, but you'd be glad to.
Oh, absolutely.
What is happening?
We'll host the show for him.
Absolutely.
We're on a podcast, Eric.
They can do a biography documentary.
No, I got people freaking calling my phone and switching my AirPods.
Tell him hush.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So Parker.
Wow, we got straight already.
Yeah, that's how a show here is at the Dad World Order, man. We just have fun. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you do in the Army National Guard and what your particular day-to-day life is like.
So, being in the National Guard, I'm a civilian almost all the time. I only go on duty once a month and then 2 weeks in the summer for our annual training. My job specialty, the full title is a Field Artillery Advanced Tactical Data Systems Specialist. There's where that nerd kind of comes out.
Is there like an abbreviation for that?
Yeah.
FUBIDA? Is there like an abbreviation for that? You're like, yeah, we're FUBIDA.
FATADs.
What was it?
FATADs.
Fake mats?
FATADs.
FATADs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you said
The short version is that I'm a rocket scientist. I calculate how to shoot a cannon or a rocket and hit a target many miles away.
Look at that, guys. DWO bringing you freaking rocket scientists to interviews.
Indeed.
Look at that.
I mean,
What other pro wrestling podcast or dad-related podcast has rocket scientists? We do.
so, I mean, it's not rocket science, does that joke get really old really quick?
It gets so old that we just kind of stopped using it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when people have issues putting up a tent, like, come on, guys, it's not rocket science. After about a month, that's gone.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the Guard, man?
It'll be 12 years this month, actually.
wow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
8 more to go.
indeed. I've got one left on my current contract. That'll put me at 13 years, and then I'll just sign up for another 7, and I'm at my 20. And if I want to go more, I can, but at any point after 20 years, I'm allowed to just go to my commanding officer and say, yeah, I'm done. I'm going home. And they can't.
Hey,
Gotta
man.
love that level of power, man.
Yeah.
You get one guy that pisses you off one day, you'd be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going home.
It's happened. I've seen guys be there one day and just be like, you know what? I'm going home. I'm going to go
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
listen,
stupid.
I'm just not liking the look on Jerry's face. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What are
So,
we having
Carl over here just let out the worst fart I've ever smelled in my life. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore.
That's a perfectly valid reason. If
Right.
I 10 years, I just want to leave. Man, he farted in my face. I'm done.
Yeah,
So,
like
man,
that.
you spend a lot of time in camps with a lot of guys. What's the grossest thing you've witnessed, dude-wise?
I don't
Come
think
on,
I'm
the
allowed
kid-
to talk about that on camera.
Listen, the kids
Okay.
are asleep. The kids are asleep. You can tell.
We've
We've
had some pretty grotesque things proclaimed on here. I'm talking man versus goats talk.
So, true
Apparently
story.
it gets lonely in the desert. I don't know.
Yeah, true story. I was out on night patrol on my first tour, and I saw a man and a goat doing the dirty in thermal.
Oh,
I'm scanning at their eyes, and I'm like, "What's that?" Oh, it's a dude fucking goat. All right.
Neat!
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's seared into my brain.
the moment.
Who
when
was
you
it we
realize
had
that you're
on that?
like,
They said
oh,
they like
shit.
dressed up the goats and like they had like a festival about it. And which guest
I
was
haven't
that?
seen that.
That was Men's Health.
Yeah,
What's his name? Was in the Marines. Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Oh my
Yeah, that
god.
checks out.
That checks out.
Yeah. Go back and watch that episode. Men's Health Unscripted.
That's a
I'm
great
gonna
episode.
Pull that one up.
That's a great podcast too, man. If you're looking for something, they talk about literally everything from prostate health to mental health to any cardiac health, anything you can think of that has something to do with dudes. They'll talk about it.
He was even leading a yoga class the other day. I was like, dude, that's great, man. Like, I would totally attend that.
I did yoga when I was overseas. I found it quite therapeutic and surprisingly effective for my fitness.
I'm itching for it. I want it really bad. I want to get into yoga and meditation.
You want to borrow my DDP yoga DVDs?
You got them?
Yeah.
Like, I legit want to do DDP yoga.
I have them ripped. I have them ripped in multiple copies that I could let you borrow a set.
Nice.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Make
it
it out.
Dudes.
Dudes helping dudes. Dads helping dads.
There you go.
I think there's a second Pornhub for that.
I know you're not like first off, what? That's paying off. Oh shit. Welcome to the Dad World Order.
Dad World.
Oh shit.
And we're gonna skate on by. So,
With that being said, I'm going to pour myself just a small amount more of Crown Royal apple
take a drink after that.
in my boozing with the toys shot glass.
There you go,
Yeah,
Cardona.
shout out Cardona. We love you, boy.
Brian
Can't
Myers.
wait to see you on August 3rd, but our boy Jake is going to kick your ass, Indy
Oh.
God. You don't know what you got coming to you.
I'll whoop that ass.
Jake Chris going to fuck you up, Cardona. We need to clip that. Clip that and show Cardona. Punk ass.
I'm sure you'd love it.
I'm not even a wrestling guy, and I just love the energy you guys give off because you're so into it.
So speaking
Oh,
of
yeah.
wrestling, man, what did you have any time that you were a big wrestling fan growing up, or are you
No,
just
not
not
really.
Really?
I had a kind of a sheltered childhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're
Where'd you
saying
grow
is that you're willing to accept an invite from us to come join us whenever your schedule will allow you at a Wrestling Revolver show, right?
Sounds good to me, yeah.
Dude, you would seriously, even as somebody who knows nothing about pro wrestling, you would have so much fucking fun at that show.
I took my almost 16-year-old daughter to the last show, and when we left, they were like, I wanted to cheer with you, but I didn't understand who to cheer for, but I definitely loved your guys' energy. Like, it was a whole other level, so.
The entirety of my wrestling knowledge stems from the fact that Macho Man Randy Savage was in Spider-Man. That's it.
Bonesaw is ready.
I got you for 3 whole minutes of
3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Everyone's got a Macho Man voice, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Some
like
are better than others.
Mine's terrible.
So you,
Yes, I know.
so you have been in for, you said 12 years.
correct.
So have you ever had to, and we may have touched on this already, I can't remember before we started recording or after, but you've been deployed, is that correct?
I have, yes.
Okay.
I spent 9 months in a little tiny country that most people have never heard of, right next to Somalia, which a lot of people have heard of.
Okay.
You're going to laugh. The name of the country I was in is Djibouti.
Djibouti, Africa?
I spent a little time in Djibouti myself.
Yeah! You got to make jokes about that all day long.
Parker, when I get off of here, I'm going to send you a picture. I've got to dig it out of my little memories box. But I wrote a fucking report about Djibouti in 6th grade because it was called Djibouti.
Djibouti.
I literally wrote an essay and got a special ribbon over it. And I've literally kept it for years from school. I'll have to send you a picture of that. That is fucking
Please do.
fantastic.
Yeah, I was there for 9 months. We were augmenting the security force. It's a Navy base that's there. And we were basically acting as their guards the whole time.
They
So,
need
Okay.
them.
and the
Super
gates,
jealous.
do all that. It was not a fun time, I'll tell you that much. But I would
Well-
go back and do it in a heartbeat.
For me, I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about, but Mauritania, there's a place called the Eye of Africa that a lot of people believe is Atlantis. I would love to travel there and see that for myself. just the landmass that is there, because it's a 26-kilometer wide, damn near perfect circle, and it's really, you can see it from space. Like astronauts use it to orientate themselves on exactly where they are located on the Earth at the time.
No shit.
So yeah, it's called the Eye of Africa. If you don't know anything about it, I'll send you some stuff in our chat later.
Cool.
It's awesome.
This guy doesn't know how to send an email, but he can tell you how to orientate yourself in space based on a freaking landmass.
I'm
all
learning
about Djibouti.
I'm learning, sir. I have been adding things to our calendar.
I had to teach you how to do an Instagram story like 2 weeks ago.
This is the dad world order. You think we're just hip? A lot of us are set in our ways, pal.
You're the one that has a world record that posts on social media all the time, and I got to teach you how to put a story on Instagram?
Yes, pal.
To be fair, production value is 0.
Oh shit, man!
All joking aside, I know we make light of it and all, but we definitely appreciate your service and the sacrifice that it
absolutely.
takes just to, to make it over there away from home for that long period of time. I myself had a child who was deployed for over a year, and just on our side, what it was like, having our child be away and not knowing what's going on, is a big sacrifice in itself, and it pales in comparison to what you and your brothers and sisters go through. So again, we thank you.
And we appreciate the support. I speak as for the entire military. We appreciate the support we get from you guys back home, because really we wouldn't be able to make it through without you guys backing us up.
Well, that's why we had you on here, man. It's the 4th of July when this is airing, and there are a few things we don't really get political at all, really, but we definitely stand by our military. That's something that the DWO definitely does, and we support our troops. And that's why we definitely wanted to bring you on also to speak a little bit today about gun and fireworks safety, since we are on
Yes.
we are on
There you go.
one of the most dangerous holidays for explosives. So we figured we'd talk a little bit about safety.
Today, right now, there are thousands of people who have no idea that this is the last day they have with all 10 fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you really think about it.
It is.
And especially in the age of social media and everything going viral, as it were, like the amount of videos I've seen of just like insane firework accidents just in like the past 3 days.
Put it in
like
reverse.
it happens.
Put it in reverse.
I know.
Yeah, put it in reverse, Terry.
It's funny every time. It's that time of year again. It's like Mariah Carey at Christmas. We got back it up, Terry, at 4th of July.
Yeah, dude, there was one I saw. I don't know, like 2 or 3 days ago, and it was like people putting off fireworks in their front yard, and just like a bottle rocket tipped over and shot into the back of. I guess they had the back of their van open. Well, all the fireworks were in there. Mm-hmm. And they all start the whole front yard just explodes. And, like, everybody's out there in lawn chairs and everything. It's like, what in the actual fuck is going on?
Rule number 1. Keep
Hi,
the
I need to
unlit
file an
fireworks
insurance
away.
claim. I seem to have had a collision with freedom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh hell! So yeah, let's tell us a little bit about what's important when it comes to fireworks safety, gun safety specifically with the children. You know, as dads, I think that's something that whether you believe in guns or not, guns are going to exist, and they do exist. You know what I mean? So it's important to keep them away from children. And just go into that a little bit. I know you got a little spiel for us on it.
Yeah, and whether you like guns or not, that's up to you. But this country exists because a bunch of people had guns, and we told the British to fuck off. So
The
you
natives
go.
Celebrate that
there
today.
is.
yeah. But
200 and something years.
Yeah. What are we at? This is 2023, so that'd be 247 years, I believe.
Yep.
248, something like that.
Reigning champs.
I'm not going to
But,
doubt his math. He can hit a spot from 32 miles away. If you said it, so
Yeah.
The thing is, I struggle with simple math sometimes, but if you give me complex equations, I'm fine.
What kind of math is that? Is that like trigonometry, or is
It
that
is.
like?
It's a nice blend of trigonometry, geometry, and a lot of atmospheric sciences, because I have to calculate air pressure, wind speeds, humidity every 10 meters above the Earth's surface for the entire path of the projectile.
Okay.
Sniper on steroids.
Yes.
So, in that little spiel you just had there, you said 10 meters.
Yeah.
So in the military, you guys use meters. Is that
We do use
correct?
the metric system, yeah.
Okay, why the fuck are we still using feet? Because I have been a maintenance tech for a long time, and everything is metric, and I'm so tired of using standard shit. It's stupid.
So back in the 70s, the U.S. government actually tried to field using the metric system, which is why we have 2-liter sodas, because that was like a soft start of, if you can get used to this, we can work in everything else.
Hey, there you go. Fun fact.
Yeah, they used liters for measuring drinks, and sodas stuck. And they had a few distance measurements like kilometers. You may see a lot of road signs in some areas that list kilometers next to the miles.
Mm-hmm.
But because Americans are stupid, it just didn't stick. They couldn't grasp the concept. And the government basically said, fuck it, we're sticking with the imperial.
It's so much easier. Everything is intense.
Milk,
Exactly.
Pepsi and Coke are like, yeah, we're down with this, and Milk's over here like, we're
Nah.
gallons,
We're a gallon.
half gallons, and quarts.
They have.
So then, to answer
They
your
have
question
2
about my
liters, but they got
thermostat,
20 of
I
those.
keep it at 23 degrees
Attaboy.
Celsius.
Celsius.
Boo.
I believe
Boo.
Celsius isn't metric. It's bullshit. We can switch
technically
to
you're right.
metric.
Kelvin is metric.
Dude, I did have that one time. I had a buddy who was from Australia, and I remember him telling me we were playing Xbox, and he was like, it's so, fucking hot here. It's like 42 degrees. And I'm like, that's hot? Like, what are you talking about? And then I had to realize, like, oh, he means Celsius, because 42 degrees Celsius is like 104 Fahrenheit or some shit. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's pretty hot there.
Yeah. So 68 degrees Fahrenheit is 20 degrees Celsius.
Look at you. You just got these things in your brain. You really are Tony Stark. Speaking of which, that's something we got to bring up for our people watching tonight. This guy is absolutely... You talk about a cosplayer. There's a cosplayer out there, but this guy is damn near role-playing Tony Stark. As you can see, that is his private
Stark
debit card.
Industries.
And
Or
for
if you can't
those of you
see.
who can't see, it says Stark Industries on his debit card and Tony Stark. So how long have you been a fan of Tony Stark? How long have you been a fan of Iron Man?
As strange as it may sound, I never got into the comics. Like I said, kind of a sheltered childhood. But when the first Iron Man movie came out, I was all about it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And it just got worse and worse from there.
I'll say I wasn't much of an Iron Man fan before that movie came out. I think that made a fan of a lot of people of
Yes.
Iron Man.
And you
I
can't
was a
see it. I
huge
can't
fan
show
of
you, but my
X-Men
license
stuff.
plate on my car is Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's both feet in, bro. Both feet in. I love it.
Hey,
Hey man, you look at us with our wrestling shit. He's the same, but with Tony Stark shit.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we have a little bit of wrestling stuff.
As
Dude, we
all
have wrestling stuff that hasn't even been delivered yet, like pre-orders and stuff like that. So,
Speaking of
yeah.
which, did you? Well, we'll talk about it later. But yeah,
What?
did you message Matthew Palmer?
No,
You
I need
still
to.
get the
Sorry.
shirt, bro?
No, I ordered it June 8th. It's July 3rd, technically 4th, when this airs.
I'm gonna message him right now.
So like, where is Cephas's shirt? I ordered this shit June 8th, which is cool. I get it. Don't get me wrong. People's schedules are busy. But, I'm a wrestling t-shirt guy. I fucking need your wrestling t-shirts.
That's a good point. It's kind of
Yeah.
a priority.
Yeah.
So,
So,
do you,
go ahead, Mark.
do you hold like an actual? Sifa said you instruct or teach gun safety to children or to kids. Do you hold like an actual class, or is that like?
I don't have any official certifications. I just have a quite long resume of things that I've done. And I have some people that trust that more than they trust a certificate from some institution.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to teach anybody and everybody how to handle a firearm safely. I am absolutely more than happy to help somebody pick out their first gun if they want to buy one. I will show up at the gun shop and help you the whole way through and find something that works for you.
What would you say are like some of like the top things you want to pass on to your kids in terms of like just kind of making them aware? What are some of the top things to kind of express to your kids when it comes to gun safety?
I mean, it's pretty cliche, but like the 4 basic rules of firearm safety cover everything. And for anybody that doesn't know, the 4 basic rules are: number 1, treat every firearm as if it's always loaded, always. Number 2 is keep your finger off of the trigger until your sights are on target and you have made the decision to fire. Number 3 is never point a gun at anything you are not willing to destroy. And number 4 is know your target, what is in front of it, and what is beyond it. That last one confuses some people, but if you have a paper target somewhere that you're shooting at, you need to make sure that what's behind the target also is okay, because bullets go through things. And not just paper either. Like, depending on what you're shooting, you might be able to shoot through a cinder block or a dirt hill that's not as deep as you think it is. Bullets can go through things. So number 4 is actually really important. But if you keep those in mind, then you should be fine. And people think that these are like immutable laws. You can break one rule at a time and still be safe. So if I am aware that my firearm is loaded, if I know my target and what is beyond it, and if I have my sights on target, then I am safe to put my finger on the trigger, even though I haven't made the decision to fire yet, because all of the other conditions have been met. If you break 2 rules, now you have a safety problem. So they are self-correcting as long as you only break 1 at a time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've always been very like, didn't want to, I'm a gun owner and, that's my personal choice, but I've always been, I didn't want to be there any mystique around the guns and be that thing that like the kids want to like, ooh, I want to see it. I want to sneak into the bedroom. Like, this is what it looks like. This is what it can do. I've taken my kids to the gun range, stuff like that. And I've always felt like just educating them on it, and then from there they can make their decisions how they feel about it from there.
Yeah,
and
taking the mystery out of it helps a lot of the situation, because if they grow up not understanding guns, and we see a lot of evidence of this now, adults now that grew up not being around firearms, not understanding how they work or what they're used for, these are the same kind of people that end up being very afraid of them in all situations. And if you take that mystique, that mystery out of it, and you teach your kids what guns are for, what they're like, how to use them, what they can and can't do, they're not this mystical, magical thing that just you point it at something and it dies. If you take that out of it, then they tend to be more receptive. And even if they decide they're not into guns, that's fine. At least now they know it's not this thing to be feared because, oh my God, it could go off at any moment. No, somebody with intent has to have it and use it.
Especially in this day and age, in this particular world that we live in now. And I'm a huge video game guy, so by no means am I saying video games add to anything, but people see in video games and in popular television people shooting people and people dying all the time. And sometimes young kids can disconnect from how real that actually is. You know what I mean? If they've been shooting people in video games their whole lives and no one's taught them about gun safety, things can go down a wrong path. And at that time, there is an issue. You know what I mean? And that's why I think that what you're doing, is a really cool thing. I think that kids need that. Kids need some kind of direction. I feel like, and you're never too, once the kids can talk and walk, I feel like they need to know, to be safe around those particular things.
I was 4 years old when my dad started teaching me how to shoot. He took me out to the range and he put a .22 rifle in my hands. Actually,
listen
here, Parker. Rifle right here.
Listen here, Parker. We're gonna let you shoot this gun, but you're not watching any Beavis and Butthead,
right?
I mean, kind of, yeah.
That's a beautiful gun there, man. It's
a lever action.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. This is a Winchester Model 9422 that is the exact firearm I learned to shoot with. It's on loan from my dad right now just for this podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
There you go.
I have been using this firearm since I was 4 years old, and then once I was good enough with this, he put a Smith & Wesson Model 19 357 Magnum revolver in my hands, and that was the day I learned to not be afraid of recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're gonna teach recoil, that's one to do it for sure.
by the
So now
time I was 12, my
Jesus,
stepfather
Dirty
had let
Harry.
me shoot a lot of guns, and on my 12th birthday, he let me shoot a 30-06.
Nice.
And I remember that was the first gun I ever shot that made it feel like a horse kicked me in the shoulder.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, why would you do this? Why can't we just use regular guns that don't hurt? Like this makes no sense.
I was not quite 12 yet, but my dad did help me learn how to shoot a shotgun, and not this exact one, but one similar to it. It was a single shot 20 gauge. His was more wood and stuff. I picked this up for $100 at a local shop. I walked out of the door, like I talked him down just a little bit to right under $100, so that I could, with tax, be at a flat 100.
That's nice, man.
Single shot, 20 gauge, like you can't go shooting fast with it because there's only one, and then you have to reload. But this is the same kind of gun that I learned to shoot a shotgun with. I hear that a lot. People always say that a shotgun is the perfect home protection gun because you don't have to aim. Well, you do. If it went everywhere, then you would have a bigger problem. Yeah.
I've always been told that's like the perfect gun because, that like my personal one, the 12 gauge, you got, once you rack it, this is like, doesn't matter what ammunition you got. If somebody hears that, they go run.
But you have also just given away your position. So if they didn't know where you were now, they do now. So, like, if I'm in the bedroom and I go, they're in the living room, they're like, okay, he's that way and he has a gun, so I'm going to wait for him to come out and then I'm going to shoot him before he sees me.
Damn. I need night vision goggles.
I don't have them in here with me, but funnily enough, I do have night vision goggles.
I knew you did. You got an Iron Man helmet, you definitely got night vision goggles.
That's what this is for. This is what my night vision mounts on.
Oh, wow.
Your nods.
This is not military issued. I bought this.
There you go.
Built the
My
nods
personal
myself.
shit.
Have you actually used like military grade night vision in the field?
I have. It's wonderful. But if I wanted to buy my own that is military grade, it would be about $40,000.
Yeah.
So I built my own for $500.
So, boys, I got to bring it up because we're in the same boat as this young man, and he is a sailor like us when it comes to this is a wireman. This is a Sparky, guys. He does a little bit of wiring himself
Really?
in his shoot
You can't
job.
see it, but my workbench is here.
That's actually what I met him during. He came through a place that I worked where we did PLC panels, and we hit it off there talking about all kinds of shit. So, and lo and behold, he ends up becoming a guest on our show.
We love interesting people. So.
Which, don't get me wrong here, Mr. Parker. I'm going to definitely call upon you again because, in fact, I guess I can technically announce it that at the end of July, Old Wrestling T-Shirt Guy is also starting his own podcast as well. Shirts and Stuff podcast. I will still absolutely be a 100% DWO member because when you're DWO for life. So that will absolutely be my primary podcast is DWO. But I'm going to do something on the side by myself. But you'll probably see these two gentlemen on my episodes as well. But there'll be more about that coming in the future.
It's like Better Call Saul. It's like,
Yeah, if you've seen
There you go.
if you've seen the main season and you really like these characters and you want to see a little bit more.
Oh, puppy.
Bro.
He's got plenty of them.
They're beautiful, beautiful creatures. They are all very friendly. We just went over to his house this past weekend to watch a wrestling pay-per-view, and I was enamored by the dogs, especially by the cat, because he has a cat that lives in a house with 3 giant Great Danes, and that cat thinks he's a Great Dane. So he's a pretty cool cat.
Your breath smell like shit.
Poor Lumen.
So you mentioned home defense earlier, and I don't advise a shotgun for that. What
would you recommend?
AR-15.
There you go.
And this is like the most basic AR-15 you can get. I bought this for $315. It's made by Anderson Manufacturing. It is like no frills.
It's right down the road from us.
It looks like a military issue M4. It is far from it. It is like it rattles. but it still works.
Does it have the lining in it where you can wash it in soap and water? Supposedly,
Chrome lined barrel. It does.
I thought Anderson had like a proprietary.
Oh, you're talking about the RF85. No, this is not RF85. This is just plain old phosphate coating, the same thing that's on every other mil spec type of deal.
I'm learning on my own show over here.
But now this is a pretty basic one. It's nothing fancy, just iron sights, and we call it a Johnny Cool handle in the military, but a vertical foregrip. Put that on it, but there's nothing else fancy about this. This is not what I use for home defense.
Look at you.
I use this.
Parker came with. Is it a flamethrower?
This is another AR-15.
Is that a flamethrower?
Yeah, burn my
If you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, you're missing out.
I have a switchable red and green dot sight on it, on a riser, because if I have night vision on, I can't get my head real low, so I can keep my head up here. It has a white light, and then this module has a green laser and also an infrared laser, which you cannot see because it's infrared, which I can use under night vision.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you for a zombie apocalypse?
Yes.
Yes.
Just need an address where I can come camp out.
I'm going to need you to come get us all Daryl Dixon style. Come collect
Get
us.
your Humvee, because we all know you got a Humvee, and come pick us up.
I'm not going to say I know where to get a military vehicle, but I know where to get a military vehicle. Fun fact, they don't need a key to start the engine.
Nope.
It's funny you show the AR-15, because that's kind of seems to be like the hot button, the gun that kind of is the scapegoat for a lot of things, and it's the associated assault rifle.
So it's funny you talk about that, because like you were talking about with the removing the mystique from things earlier, like this looks to the untrained eye just like a military issued M4, which is by definition an assault rifle because it has full auto capabilities. Like you can pull the trigger and it will keep firing until it runs out of bullets, or you let go of the trigger. This does not. It has safe and fire, and if it's on fire, it goes bang, it cycles, and then it doesn't go bang until you pull the trigger again. It has no full auto. This is, by definition, not an assault rifle. It looks like one, but it's not.
Doesn't the AR come from the brand that created it or something like that?
So I'll give you a quick history lesson, because I could talk about this for the next hour and a half. A company
That's why we got you here.
Yeah, a company called Armalite, which is what the AR in AR-15 stands for. It's not even Armalite rifle, it's just Armalite.
Armalite, yeah.
They had a guy named Eugene Stoner working for them, and he designed... Yeah, Eugene Stoner.
It's a relative.
I'm James Eugene, and I'm a stoner. I feel like I know this guy.
Exactly. Eugene Stoner designed a rifle that was very similar to this, like basically interchangeable with this, for the military to replace the M1 Garand and the M14 at the time, because the military wanted a smaller, lighter, faster-moving projectile. He designed that in the AR-15. The Air Force actually picked it up first as the XM-177, and then the U.S. Army evaluated it and decided, we like this, and they adopted it as the XM-14, or sorry, the XM-15. Yeah. And then Colt picked up the design and started making it as the SP-1, and then the Army adopted it fully as the M16, which very quickly changed to the M16A1 because they kind of screwed something up. The Army provided them with a bullet that they wanted to use. Armalite designed it around that bullet, and then at the last minute, the Army said, you know what, we're going to use a lighter bullet. And so the rifling in the barrel was the wrong twist rate, and it was causing inaccuracy. So they had to redesign the barrel to use this lighter bullet, and that was the M16A1.
Okay.
The more you know.
Yeah.
And there's another 50 years in history after that, because that was back in 1973, I think.
Yeah, the M16 the M16s were like Vietnam.
Yes.
Like that was the first first action they saw and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
Get your knowledge on the Dad World Order podcast.
Did you? I don't know if you ever saw. I can't remember what show it was, but it was hosted by Arlie Ermy, and it was like it would just like rate guns against each other, and they did the M16 versus the AK-47.
Yep.
And like the AK-47 absolutely destroyed the M16, and it was funny when you're watching the show. Like I think they did like how to disassemble and reassemble or whatever. And like when the guy with the AK was reassembling his, he was like picking up sand and like throwing it at him and like all kinds of shit just to try to get the M16 to win. It was funny.
So these are actually, you're not going to believe me because you've seen it on film, but a lot of times those results are skewed because the AK-47 is designed to have all these open areas where stuff can get in, and then loose tolerances for it all to fall out. The AR platform, it has a dust cover on it, and when you have a magazine in, there's like no place for stuff to get in. It doesn't have an open slot for the charging handle. Your dust cover's closed. So if this were sealed up, like if I had a magazine in and I just dropped it in mud, like really soupy mud, pulled it out, it'd be fine.
Right.
So would an AK-47, but it's because this was designed to like keep the innards clean, where an AK-47 is just really loose tolerances, and they didn't care.
Well, there you go.
Kyle Kalashnikov and Eugene Stoner met at one point in time, told each other about why they designed their rifles the way they did. They shot each other's rifles, and they both loved each other's rifles. They got along great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a
funny you
whole
say that
documentary
name.
series on it.
I get that. I see that last name Kalish. I can't even say
Kalashnikov.
Kalashnikov.
in my emails every single day. Every single day.
Are we a part of some email subscriptions?
I want to AKM the collection. I want like a full wood dressed out one. I got the AR and I want the
guys.
AK.
Fans, when we say we're some dads, we're some dads. We
are.
Yeah.
We like bourbons. We like wrestling. We like rums. We like guns. We like our family. There's certain things that are unalienable about us.
And all these things in a safe manner too, because we are dads.
Damn right.
And we're not idiots.
Yes.
I mean, we could be idiots, but we're not idiots about that.
Yeah.
So that was.
I wanted to touch on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think it's a dad's responsibility to keep his household safe, and you can't always carry around one of these. Like, this is great for home defense, but you are not always having a rifle slung on your back, and carrying a firearm, I feel, is a huge responsibility for a dad, or for anybody, really, men and women alike. This is a Sig Sauer P365X. It's a tiny little compact thing. I've done some custom work on it. I put in an aftermarket barrel, and I retextured the grip. But this thing disappears in any clothing, and even easier if you use the standard shorty grip module. It's just a little bit smaller. But
okay, you're killing me right now because that's like my favorite gun ever, and I want it so bad.
Go get one.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
I love that grip texture.
I'll even do your grip texturing for you.
So one of my favorite authors right now is Jack Carr. Wrote the Terminal List series. I don't know if you ever read it.
I've heard of it.
They made the first season of it into an Amazon Prime show. But that is like his swear by weapon is the Sig P365, and ever since I started like reading those and like hearing about it, I started looking them up, and I went and shot one at the range one time.
Yep.
And it makes my Springfield 40 feel like, why the F did I ever buy this? And I love my Springfield 40. So
I have very pointed feelings about Springfield. We're not going to go there right now.
Well,
I'll give you one better. I got a Glock.
That's okay. I own a Glock.
Thought you're gonna shit on me. I really thought you were gonna shit on me.
Well,
No, I have very specific reasons for hating on Springfield, and it has nothing to do with the performance of their firearms.
He actually went on a date with Rick Springfield, and he wasn't very nice to Mr. Parker Brown.
He didn't tip.
didn't tip.
We went Dutch. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But no, 100% of the time, if you see me out and about, either this is in my waistband or this is.
So awesome.
So which what is the one you just pulled out there?
This is a Rock Island Armory TAC Ultra FSHC in 9mm. It is a double stack, so thick boy. 2011 holds 19 rounds in a mag, and I have a light on it because any good carry gun should have a light on it. I just haven't found one that I like that fits the P365.
Okay, there you go.
So what do you feel is the purpose for the light? To blind your opponent?
No, I carry a light separately as well, because if you're in a situation where you need a light, it works way better than the one that's on your phone, because those throw about 2 feet. This will reach 150 yards away if I need it to.
Good mess.
But sometimes when you're in the dark and you might be in a situation where you have to defend yourself, not everything that needs lit up.
Right.
But holding a flashlight with your firearm can get awkward, especially if you need this other hand to do something.
Fair.
So I like to keep a light. Well, I may be holding back my children. I may be opening doors. I may be helping somebody that's down and still have to keep my firearm up for defensive use. So I like having a light on the gun, and I like having a separate light, because not everything that needs lit up needs lit up.
Right.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I was actually gonna tell a story when you were touching on like gun safety with kids and stuff like that. And this is not a knock on my parents at all, but like I didn't grow up around weapons. Like my dad didn't have any guns, like none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly, I was probably like 10 years old, something like that. There was a creek that ran down by our house, and I remember running through the creek with my friends, and I actually found, ironically, a Springfield 9mm
Yep.
In the creek. And I remember I brought that sumbitch home, and I was just like, Dad, look what I found, like I thought it was the coolest thing ever. My mom's freaking out and everything, but like as a 10-year-old, like I had no clue about any of that. You know what I mean? It was just like, well, here I come. Like I got a gun, and I'm 10 years old in the middle of a subdivision. It's like, well, and like I said, not a knock on them at all. That's not their thing. But if it is going to be your thing, like definitely educate your kids on it, because they need to know that it is something that is to be respected, and not just like, hey, look what the fuck I found.
Yeah. So if your parents, and again, not a knock on your parents, if they had taught you the 4 basic rules of firearm safety when you were a little kid, then 10-year-old you, if you found a gun in the creek, there's one of two things going to happen. You're either going to immediately run and find your parents and let them know, or if you're feeling bold, and I don't advise this, 10-year-old you would have known, okay, clear it, make sure it's empty.
Right, yeah.
And now, in pieces, I'm going to take it home and give it to my dad.
Well, and that's the thing. I did have enough common sense that, like, I brought it right home to my parents, because, like, I was there with all my friends, and they're like, oh, let's do it. I'm like, no, I'm going home.
Yeah.
But still, like, I mean, I don't remember exactly, but, like, I could have been walking home with my finger on the trigger. Like, I don't fucking know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some 10-year-old's just like, I found a gun.
Yeah, look what the fuck I found. So, it's...
I found crawdads in the creek by my house.
Never know.
That was the thing is like, dude,
firearms. Jeez, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Coleraine, man. Shit happens.
Where this magic gun creek is.
How many bodies that thing got on it?
Coleraine definitely got
Someone ditched a murder weapon. And you brought
corner of Sheed and Desert Gold.
Hey,
Coleraine, White Oak.
About the lady of the lake giving me a magic sword, just take me to the creek where there's guns.
Right.
Guys,
and that's the other thing is this gun was not like rusted or anything like that. So like this had been recently tossed in that motherfucker. So it was my dad ended up like calling the cops, and they came and got the gun, and yeah. So
So that's something important I think that we should address just in case YouTube has any kind of issues with anything here. We're not promoting any kind of craziness with guns. We're only promoting safety. We're only promoting explaining exactly what children should do if they find a firearm, if they should encounter a firearm, or what to expect when they see a firearm. You know what I mean? I think that's something important that we address. That we're just here to provide education. We may be a little goofy, but it's all in the spirit of making a stronger mind and a stronger will to make good decisions.
And when this podcast is over, these are going back in the safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I have guns at home. They always they're all staying in the safe. Which, I mean, you should if you have them. You need a safe. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Like, just get something with a freaking key that you only know where the key's at. You know what I mean? You don't have to get a $1,000 gun safe. Like, just get something where they are not accessible. It's not that hard.
Yep.
And another big thing for me, because, like, when I went and got my concealed carry permit, like, I had to do all the, education on it and everything like that. And in Kentucky, we didn't even need one. We didn't need a concealed carry. I went and got one just because it made me feel better to have one. And even now, like, I would like to go take, more courses, because I will not act like I am a firearm professional by any means. I know basic safety and everything like that. I know how to handle it. I know how to disassemble it. But continuing education, it only helps you, in my opinion. So
hit me up after this. I know exactly who you need to train with.
Okay, cool.
I got a buddy that runs those courses.
Awesome. Perfect. But yeah, I mean, that was I had a buddy that was he doesn't live in Kentucky anymore, but he did work for Kenton County Sheriff's, and I kind of picked his brain a little bit, as being a cop on the road and stuff like that. Like, because like I said, the Kentucky had recently passed, like, you didn't need a concealed carry. So it was
Ohio and Indiana are the same way now, which is great because I work in the tri-state. So
same.
But it was one of those things where I was like, I know I don't need one. And he was like, just get one. He was like, it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it's going to help. Because he was like, me personally as a cop, if I pull you over, say, and I see, I run your plates, I see that you have a concealed carry permit. So in his head, he already knows, hey, there's probably a gun in this car. There's no guesswork. Yeah. And he knows, okay, this guy went through all the steps to have a firearm. So not, 100% of the time, but, 9 times out of 10, this guy probably isn't going to use this thing nefariously on me or anything like that. Yeah. So if anything, it's going to help you. Like, yeah, technically it's legal for me to have a firearm in the car, but if I don't have one and he finds out about it, then, shit can get hairy really quick. So it just get one. You get the education with it.
So for me, that was the biggest thing, was the education that came along with it. Was just excuse me, was knowing, like, the going over some of the laws and stuff like that, and just knowing exactly what your rights are. So that was awesome. Plus, the safety aspects that came along with those classes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was taught very simple. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're definitely talking about safety, but people bounce back and forth whether or not they think they need a gun. I think the same aspect as a condom applies. You'd rather have it than not need it, and need it and not have it. You know what I mean?
Say that all the time.
We've seen in this world we live in, which it's rough to even talk about, but all the terrible events. We had one here in the Oregon District in Dayton. Our good buddy Jeremy Ganger was involved with taking the gunman down. We know that there are sick people in this world. You know what I mean? And it's at this point, you know what I mean? It's I think a necessary thing for a family to defend themselves in a way, or have a way to defend themselves.
Yeah.
National average police response time to an emergency is 17 minutes. The average time I can draw my pistol under duress is 1.7 seconds. So tell me which one you'd rather have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you being someone that knows how to handle it, not somebody that's got it slung in the back of their jeans and thinks they know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Tucked in the front waistband.
Well,
now, let's take my military aspect out of it though, because in the military we don't carry concealed,
right,
and I almost always have this on me.
right.
It is rare that I have a handgun. Those are generally for officers or support staff who just can't carry a rifle because it's inconvenient. All of my handgun training comes from being a civilian, and I have dedicated countless hours to training. I put 600 rounds downrange a month in training.
Yeah.
It's a lot and it's expensive, but I think it pays off.
Yeah.
And a good holster is vitally important. This is the holster that I use for my P365. It has good, strong loops that attaches to my belt, and I wear a strong belt. I'm not wearing like a Walmart belt. I paid $80 for this belt. It has a plastic core in it so it doesn't flex. And gun snaps in, and it's perfectly retained. And it goes nowhere. And it disappears behind clothing. Like, you saw the big honking handgun I'm carrying right now. Where is it? Like, you can tell it's right here, but you only know that it's a gun because I told you it's a gun. But that's not do a good holster. It clips tightly to the belt, and it just disappears into my body.
Yeah. Now, can you, me being a more ample gentleman with a dad bod, as they'd say,
Father.
Are there any like suggestions for like certain holsters or carry styles or anything like that?
Find a holster that is generally recommended by people. This one actually came with the P365. I think it's made by Raven Tactical. I'm not sure. But find a holster you like, and then get a Dr. Scholl's heel pad for your shoes. Those little gel inserts, and stick it onto here. Because that will press up against the fupa. It will help cant the gun backwards into your body and give you some padding, so when you're sitting down, it's not like jabbing into you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's also the reason why I have the soft side of Velcro. I just stuck some soft Velcro on there because I didn't want hard plastic and my sweat up against my body. That's the only reason that Velcro's on there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Corporal Parker Brown, the first person to say FUPA on DWO podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm not exactly a thin guy myself. I've got a little bit of a gut, and this helps. A lot of holsters nowadays have these little claws on them that when your belt passes by, it presses up against your belt to hold the gun back instead of it tipping out away from your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What kind of dad bod you got going there, man? You got any plans in your future to have any children? Is that something you want to do in your life?
I have one, and I'm done.
Yeah, you have a child?
You don't know this?
No, Parker. I should have asked this. Maybe.
Later.
We're gonna have a talk later.
Do you have a boy?
He's already part of the club, man.
I have an 8-year-old son.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck
he lives with his mom, but I have an 8-year-old son.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
He's still fun.
Cephas smokes a lot of vitamins, so we give him a break around here.
You can tell from my eyeballs, I've had a few drinks tonight, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have my eye drops on me. Otherwise, I'd
toss them to you. Mr. Parker, do you have anything else you'd like to plug or anything like that? We really appreciate you coming on here, man.
I'm just thankful to be here. This has been a great time.
Absolutely.
I would like to share some advice that my dad imparted upon me when I was young. If you find a job you enjoy, you will never work a day in your life. And I have found that to be absolutely true. My military career, I don't work. And my civilian career, I don't work. Like, I basically work 2 full-time jobs, and I have fun doing all of it. There is no work for me.
Awesome.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant advice right there, man. You got to enjoy what you do.
This is coming from a man who's a funeral director. My father is a funeral director.
Oh, wow.
Well, hey.
How do we not get into that?
I mean, do we have another hour?
Well, I tell you what, we could definitely have another hour at some point in the future, man. Parker, would you come back on and talk to us maybe here in a few months?
100%. 100%.
All right, man. Well, we'll be in touch definitely about some future episodes. Maybe we could talk some more about your military career and things you might have seen, and maybe we could talk about whether or not young people should look towards that as a future career.
Short answer is yes, with a caveat, but Another day.
Well, there you go. There you go. If you want to learn more, tune in for next time when we have Corporal Parker Brown on. I almost Colonel.
Trying to promote me here?
You want listen? You're a colonel
give
in
him
the
a big pay raise.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. We really do appreciate it. And like I said, like I'm somebody that has guns, I shoot guns, everything like that, and even I learned something today, which is a mentality I think anybody that owns a gun should have, is you never know everything. You can always learn something.
It can be a very touchy subject, and it's not for everybody. But I think the important thing is we've discussed here, is education and safety.
Yep.
And with that, you can make your choice whether or not you want to be a gun owner.
Yes.
And then, but thank God that we live in a country where you're afforded that choice.
Yep.
Agreed.
God bless America.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th of
happy
July.
4th. Thank you again for coming on. And as always, we have been the DWO Podcast. I've been Big Rig. He has been Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He has been Wrestling T-shirt Guy Cephas. And he has been Corporal Parker Brown. You can find us on all the socials. You can see him right there. But if you can't see him, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are all at DWO_podcast. Facebook is at the DWO Podcast, and we're on TikTok now as well at DWO_pod, because I was a dummy and made one under the wrong email address, so I had to redo it. And DWO Podcast was already taken by me.
You can find me on Twitter at Tony Stark Actual.
There you go.
Right.
Corporal Parker Brown at Tony Stark Actual. I'm sure people get very confused by that, but I'm sure when they do find you, they're happy to be there. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and until next time, Top Dads out.